Life can feel overwhelming sometimes. Maybe you're facing a storm that seems impossible to overcome. Maybe you've been praying, but the answers haven't come. Or maybe you feel like you're walking in darkness, unsure of what the future holds. But let me remind you of this truth. God is still in control. Even when things don't make sense, even when fear tries to take over, God is working behind the scenes. Faith in the middle of the storm. In Mark 4:35-41, Jesus and his disciples were on the boat when a violent storm arose. The disciples were terrified, convinced they were going to die. But Jesus, he was sleeping, because he knew something they didn't. The storm was not stronger than the one who created the sea. When the disciples woke him up, Jesus simply said, "Peace, be still." And instantly, the storm stopped. Maybe today, your heart feels like that storm. Maybe anxiety, fear, and doubt are overwhelming you. But Jesus is speaking the same words to you right now. Peace, be still. Will you trust in, even when the waves feel high? God's presence in the waiting on God can be hard. We want things to change immediately. We want to see results now. But sometimes, God's greatest work happens in the waiting. Think about Joseph. He had a dream that he would one day be a great leader, but before that happened, he was betrayed, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison. For years, nothing seemed to be going right. But God was preparing him. And at the right time, Joseph stepped into his destiny. If you're in a waiting season, don't lose heart. God is still working. He hasn't forgotten you. His timing is always perfect. Surrendering fear and walking in faith. Fear tries to hold us back from trusting God. It tells us to focus on what we see instead of what God promised. But 2 Timothy 1:7 reminds us, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind." Faith is not the absence of fear, it's choosing to trust God despite the fear. It's saying, "God, I don't understand, but I trust you. I don't see the answer yet, but I know you're faithful. I feel afraid, but I choose to walk by faith, not by sight." When we surrender our fears to God, He fills us with His peace. Meditation, resting in God's peace. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes and imagine Jesus standing beside you. Feel His presence. Now, picture yourself in a stormy sea. The waves are crashing, the wind is strong. But suddenly, Jesus stands and stretches out His hand. He says, "Peace, be still." And in an instant, the storm calms. Let that truth sink into your heart. Jesus is your peace in the storm. Challenge, a step of faith this week. I challenge you to take a step of faith. If you've been struggling with fear, replace it with God's promises. If you're waiting for an answer, choose to trust God's timing. If you feel overwhelmed, surrender it all in prayer. God is working. He is faithful. You are not alone. Call to action. Let's share the message. If this message encouraged you, let me know in the comments by typing, "I trust you, Lord." Hit the like button if you believe that God is working in your life. And don't forget to subscribe and share this message so more people can be reminded of God's faithfulness. God's plans for you are good. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep walking in faith. Amen.